We all know the character: the colleague who stays at the office until 3 a.m. rather than delegating a single task, the friend who listens to everyone's trauma but never mentions their own struggles, the family member who handles every household crisis with a terrifyingly calm efficiency. When asked, "Do you need a hand?" the response is a reflex, as fast as a heartbeat: "I'm fine. I've got it." On the surface, this looks like ultimate competence. It looks like strength. But if you look closer at the tension in the jaw, the slight glazing of the eyes, the way they never truly relax even in safe company, you see something else. This isn't just being capable. This is hyperindependence, a psychological state where the act of needing someone else feels like a fundamental threat to one's safety. To understand why a human being would choose the crushing weight of isolation over the relief of support, we have to look past the stubbornness and into the cellular memory of the person who learned, very early on, that a closed door was safer than an open heart. No one is born hyperindependent. Human infants are the most dependent creatures on Earth. Our survival literally depends on our ability to signal a need and have it met. When that signal-response loop is broken, the blueprint for the self-sufficient fortress is laid. In developmental psychology, the mirroring process is vital. When a child cries and a caregiver responds with comfort, the child learns that their needs matter and the world is a place where help is available. However, many who struggle to ask for help grew up in environments where their needs were dismissed, weaponized, or simply ignored. A child's nervous system is an expert in pattern recognition, and it logs a terrifying conclusion: needing equals disappointment. To survive emotionally, the child adopts a precocious independence. They become the little adult. They stop asking because the pain of a no or the silence of an absent parent is more agonizing than the struggle of doing it alone. This strategy worked once. It was a brilliant adaptation to a suboptimal environment. But the problem is that the strategy never got updated. As we move into adulthood, these early experiences solidify into what John Bowlby called internal working models. For the hyper-independent person, the template for relationships is built on the belief that they are the only ones they can truly rely on. They view other people as either incompetent, unavailable, or having a hidden price for their help. This leads to a profound fear of what we call the invisible ledger. They view help not as a gift, but as a loan with a high interest rate. They worry that if they accept a favor today, they are handing over a blank check of obligation to the other person. To them, being beholden to someone is a form of entrapment. By never asking, they maintain a sense of total, albeit lonely, autonomy. This is why you might feel a flash of panic or even offense when someone offers to help you. It's not that you don't need the help, it's that you don't want to owe the debt. Research actually supports the idea that this fear is largely a projection of our own anxieties. A landmark 2008 study by Flynn and Lake found that people dramatically underestimate how willing others are to help them, often by as much as 50%. We walk around genuinely believing that asking is a burden, when in reality, helping others often triggers a helper's high, releasing oxytocin and creating a sense of purpose for the giver. By refusing help, you aren't saving others from a burden, you are often robbing them of an opportunity to feel connected to you. Yet, knowing this statistic rarely makes it easier to ask because the barrier isn't informational, it's identity-based. For many, "I don't need help" is the entire infrastructure of their self-worth. If your value in your social circle has always been the strong one, then needing help feels like a total system failure. There is a deep-seated fear that if you admit you can't handle something, the mask will slip and people will see you as weak or fraudulent. This is closely tied to imposter syndrome. You believe your success is a house of cards, and asking for help is the gust of wind that will knock it all down. Consequently, you would rather burn out in secret than succeed in public with assistance. This creates a cycle of silent suffering where the more competent you appear, the less people check in on you, which only reinforces your belief that you are alone. This dynamic has a devastating cost on relationships. Hyperindependence creates a lopsided intimacy. Giving is a position of power, while receiving is a position of vulnerability. By always being the giver, you maintain control and never have to show your messy, needy side. But eventually, your partner or friends start to feel shut out. They want to contribute, but every offer is rebuffed. This leads to a paradoxical outcome: you feel resentful that no one helps you, while the people around you feel rejected because they aren't allowed to. You are effectively starving the relationship of the very thing that makes it grow, mutual reliance. To dismantle this fortress, we have to look at the neurobiology of the freeze response. When you are overwhelmed but refuse to ask for help, your body is in a state of high arousal. Telling yourself it's logical to ask for help doesn't work because the rational mind isn't in charge during a threat response. The nervous system simply doesn't care about logic, it cares about safety. Therefore, the solution must be gradual and experiential. It starts with acknowledging the protector, that part of you that developed this independence to keep you safe when you were small. You have to thank that part of yourself before it will allow you to try something new. The path forward involves what we call micro-requests. You don't start by asking someone to save your life, you start by asking for something small and low stakes. Ask a colleague to proofread a paragraph, or ask a friend to recommend a book. Each time you ask and survive the experience without being rejected or burdened, you are rewiring your nervous system. You are teaching your body that the world is safer than it used to be. You are moving from independence to interdependence, which is the highest level of human maturity. Interdependence isn't about being weak, it's about the courage to be seen in your not knowing. We must also address the hidden grief. Many people who never ask for help are carrying a sadness they haven't named. It is the grief for the younger version of themselves who did reach out and wasn't met. Until that grief is acknowledged, the old strategy will stick around like a loyal soldier who doesn't know the war is over. Rebuilding your sense of self with better materials means accepting the radical idea that your needs are not a burden. It means realizing that depending on people is a skill, not a flaw. Imagine a life where you don't have to carry the mountain alone. Picture yourself at work, feeling that familiar wave of overwhelm, but instead of retreating into your fortress, you simply say, "I'm struggling with this part, could you take a look?" The relief that follows isn't just about productivity, it's about connection. It's about the realization that you are allowed to be human. The strength you developed to survive alone is real, and it got you to where you are today. But that strength was always meant to be a bridge to something greater, not a final destination. In the end, we are all part of a larger ecosystem. In nature, nothing exists in a vacuum. Trees in a forest share nutrients through their roots, animals rely on the herd for protection. You were not built to be a closed system. The people in your life who want to show up for you do exist, but you've been so good at not needing them that they've lost the habit of offering. That isn't a failure on their part or yours, it's just the current state of the script you've been following. But scripts can be rewritten. The next time you feel the urge to say "I'm fine," pause for just 3 seconds. Ask yourself what you actually need. And then, with all the bravery you've used to survive so far, try asking for it. You might find that the very thing you were running away from needing someone is the only thing that can finally set you free. You are worth the help you so freely give to others. It's time you let yourself receive it.